What is a trust? You hear about trusts and wills, but what is a trust? I like to think of a trust or describe a trust like a suitcase. It's a suitcase that you carry your assets around in. And the suitcase says what happens to your assets if you die or become incapacitated. When you first create a trust, you have an empty suitcase. The trust can only manage the assets that are in your suitcase, and so assets have to be retitled to the trust. That means you take things like real property and you file a deed giving it as yourself, your personal self, to yourself as trustee of your trust. And for bank and brokerage accounts, you retitle those assets so that you no longer own them personally, you own them as trustee of your trust. You still really own them, you're just giving them to yourself. Another way to think of a trust is as a time capsule. The time capsule is going to be open someday in the future. That's the day that you die. And your desires and wishes on what's going to happen to the items in the time capsule is what's going to happen to those items. And you can take things out of the time capsule and put other things into the time capsule over time. Truly, legally, a trust isn't a thing. It's not actually a suitcase or a time capsule. It's really just an agreement that you make with yourself to manage your assets for your own benefit and to follow your instructions when you die with your assets. And when I'm talking about a trust here, I'm talking about a revocable living trust. This is kind of the foundational kind of trust that most people have when they first create an estate plan, if their estate plan includes a trust. So hopefully that helps you understand it a little bit. A trust is an agreement that you have with yourself, but it's a lot like a suitcase or a time capsule that you put your assets in, and then the suitcase and time capsule says what happens to those assets when you die. If you'd like to talk about this more, I'd be happy to. Give me a call.